Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday School, November 22, 2020. The title of our Sunday School is God's Blessing. And the background scripture is from the book of Genesis, chapter 30. The source of our Sunday school lesson is the NIV Standard Lesson Commentary. Let's start with the prayer. Panginoon, muli kaming nagpapasalamat sa panahon at sa oportunidad na mapag-aral na iyong salita. Turuan mo kami, Panginoon, upang aming tanggapin ng lahat ng mga mabubuting bagay nangyayari ay nanggagaling sa iyo. Katulad ng mga pagpapala mo kay Jacob, kay Laban, at kay Rachel. Ito ang dalangin namin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen. Okay, so let's look at the year curriculum, the year at a glance. We are still in first quarter, covering the months of September, October, November. And the background scriptures are coming from the book of Genesis. The second quarter, the theme is our love for God. It will be December, January, February. And background scriptures are coming from the books of Deuteronomy, Joshua, Psalm, Luke, Matthew, 2 Thessalonians, James, and Philippians. The third quarter, the theme is discipleship and mission. That is for the months of March, April, May. And background scriptures are coming from the books of Luke, Mark, Matthew, and Romans. And the fourth quarter, the theme is covenant with God. That is for the months of June, July, and August. And background scriptures are coming from the books of Mark, Hebrews, Colossians, 1 Samuel, Ruth, and Ephesians. Okay, so we are in the last month of the first quarter. God blesses and recreates regardless. And here are the topics for the month of November. We have taken up siblings rivalry, Jacob's deception, and today we are talking of Jacob's dream was also last Sunday, and today is God's blessing. This is the last lesson for the month of November on this topic. Okay, so as usual, we go through the scriptures, read it, and then again we will go back and study this one by one later. Genesis chapter 30, verse 22. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. Sa wakas, nahabag din ng Diyos kay Raquel at dininig ang kanyang dalangin. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, God has taken away my disgrace. Nagdalang tao siya at nagkaanak ng isang lalaki. Kaya't sinabi niya, tinubos din ako ng Diyos sa aking kadustaan at niloob na ako'y magkaanak. She named him Joseph and said, May the Lord add to me another son. At tinawag niyang Jose ang kanyang anak. Sana'y bigyan ako ni Yahweh ng isa pa, ang wika niya. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Nang may panganak si Jose, sinabi ni Jacob kay Laban, Pahintulutan na po ninyo akong makauwi. Give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I have done for you. Isasama ko na po ang aking mga asawa at mga anak. Marahil po na may sapat na ang aking ipinaglingkod sa inyo dahil sa kanila. But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you." Sinabi ni Laban, "Kung mamarapatin mo ito ang sasabihin ko, batay sa karanasan ko sa panghuhula, tunay na pinagpala ako ni Yahweh dahil sa iyo." He added, "Name your wages and I will pay them." Sabihin mo kung magkano ang dapat kong ibayad sa iyo at babayaran kita, huwag ka lamang umalis. Verse 29, Jacob said to him, "You know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care." Sumagot si Jacob, alam naman ninyo kung paano ako naglingkod sa inyo at kung paano dumami ang iyong kawan sa aking pangangasiwa. Verse 30, "The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? Ang kaunti ninyong kabuhayan, bago ako dumating ay maunlad na ngayon, sapagkat pinagpala kayo ni Yahweh dahil sa akin. Kaya dapat namang iukol ko na ngayon ang aking panahon sa aking sambahayan." Verse 31, "What shall I give you?" he asked. "Don't give me anything," Jacob replied. "But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them." "Ano ang gusto mong ibayad ko sa iyo?" tanong ni Laban. Tumugon si Jacob, "Hindi ko po kailangang ako'y upahan ninyo. Patuloy kong aalagaan ang inyong kawan kung sasang-ayon kayo sa isang kondisyon. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages." Pupunta ako sa inyong kawan ngayon din at ibubukod ko ang mga korderong itim, gayon din ang mga bisirong kambing na may tagping puti. Yun po ang para sa akin. Verse 43, "In this way the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks and female and male servants and camels and donkeys." Ano pat yumaman siya, lumaki ang kanyang kawan at dumami ang kanyang alipin, kamelyo at asno. The key verse is in Genesis chapter 30, verse 22. "Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive." Okay, so what should we learn from our lesson? Recount instances of God's blessing of individuals in today's text. Dapat kaya nating i-istorya kung papaano binasbasan ng Diyos yung mga tao na nandito ngayon sa ating pag-aaral. Sino-sino itong mga individuals na to? Si Rachel, si Laban, at si Jacob. Compare and contrast the deceptive personalities of Laban and Jacob. Ihahambing natin ang pagkatao, ang parehong panluloko ni Laban at ni Jacob. Paano ba sila nagkaiba? Parehong madaya si Jacob at saka si Laban. Ano ang pagkakaiba? Ano ang pagkakapareho? Number 3, acknowledge with gratitude one or more blessings from God. Ito ay para sa bawat isa sa atin. Tanggapin natin at alalahanin ang Diyos sa bawat pagpapala at tayo ay matutong magpasalamat sa mga biyayang kaloob ng Diyos. Okay, so yun yung ating dapat matutunan. Lesson outline. These are the things that we should cover in the duration of our Sunday school. The introduction is ASAP. Alam alam natin yan, ASAP, as soon as possible. Then we will see the context, yung kabuuan, kung saan hinugot itong istoryang ito. Roman numeral number 1, dumami ang pamilya, lumago ang pamilya. Yun ay mula sa versikulo 22 hanggang 24. Dumami ang kanyang mga ari-arian, the flocks, the sheep, the goats, the camels, the donkeys. Yun ay sa versikulo 25 hanggang 32 at 43. Conclusion, facing Laban, and then being Jacob. Paano na tayo mabubuhay kung sa gitna nitong mga manluloko katulad ni Laban? Paano tayo mabubuhay kung katulad ni Jacob? Yan ang ating outline. And we will cover this, we will finish this during the duration of our Sunday school. Okay, so let's go to the introduction. ASAP, as soon as possible. But in our study, we will also see another ASAP, as slowly as possible. And another ASAP, as sure as promised. These three ASAP we will go through very quickly. Okay, so as soon as possible. In our fast-paced world where everything is required to happen, delays can be frustrating. As soon as possible. Talagang ayaw natin ng traffic. Very frustrating. Ayaw nating maghintay. Gusto natin ASAP, as soon as possible. Yung isang ASAP, however, mukhang itong gusto ng Diyos, as slowly as possible. God appears to prefer this. Let us see the story in the book of Genesis. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Take note, nangako ang Diyos kay Abraham. Isa sa mga pangako ng Diyos kay Abraham, you will be a great nation. You will be a great nation. Malaki ang pamilya mo. Pero, nung dumating yung pangakong anak, 100 taon na si Abraham. Another one, Isaac's sons were born after 20 years. Mula kay Abraham, yung the same promise, parehong pangako. From Abraham to Isaac, you will be a great nation. Pero yung panggagalingan ng mga descendants, si Isaac, 20 taon mula nung ikasal siya kay Rebecca, doon lang pinanganak si Esau at si Jacob. As slowly as possible. Another time, as slowly as possible, Jacob has to work 7 years to marry Rachel. But of course we know, he got another sister, Leah, and he again has to work for another 7 years, 14 years, to have Leah and Rachel. Rachel also has to wait before Joseph was born. Kahuli-hulihang nagkaanak yan si Rachel kay Joseph. So, it appears really that God prefers this ASAP, as slowly as possible. Pero meron pa tayo isang ASAP, as sure as promised. God appears to delay answering prayers, of fulfilling promises. But we trust that God will do what He has said. Maaaring may delay. Maaaring hindi na pupulfill from our point of view. But let us remember, let us always put in our mind, God's timing is always perfect. God is always right. Okay, so let's see the context. Saan ba hinuhugot itong istorya ng text ng lesson natin ngayon? The lesson context. So Jacob arrived in Haran, meet his cousin Rachel and Uncle Laban. Dumating na si Jacob sa Haran. Dumating na. 550 miles on foot dumating na siya. Nakita niya si Rachel, "Oy! Insan! Ako si Jacob, pinsan mo ako." "Oh, Uncle Laban, ako si Jacob. Anak ako ng kapatid mong si Rebecca." What a reunion! Jacob introduced himself to Rachel, his cousin, and to his uncle, the brother of his mother, Rebecca. Okay, so yun yung dumating na siya roon. Then, Laban deceived Jacob. Niloko ni Laban si Jacob, yung manluloko, niloko. Parehong manluloko itong dalawang ito eh. Di ba? What happened? Sabi ni Jacob, "Gusto ko si Rachel, aasawahin ko siya. O sige, magtrabaho ka sa akin ng 7 taon. Pagkatapos ng 7 taon, okay na, okay, kasal mo na kami. Pumasok ka na sa tent." Iba naman ang inilagay na babae. Ang tawag diyan ay sister swapping. Swinap. Yung si Leah ang nilagay ni Laban dun sa tent. Nalaman lang ni Jacob na iba pala yung babaeng nandun sa tent nung umaga na. So, what happened? Again, sabi niya, "What will I do? You work again for another 7 years. Magtrabaho ka uli na ng 7 taon. At si Rachel naman." Okay. So, that's what happened. And then, nanganak na si Leah. Si Leah maraming anak. Jacob had 12 sons and 1 daughter. But the 11 were born in Haran. Benjamin was born in Canaan. Rachel voiced her anguish for a child. Itong panahon na to, humihiling si Rachel, si Raquel. Panginoon, bigyan mo naman ako ng anak. Take note, Leah had a lot of children. But Rachel does not have a child of her own. Wala siyang anak. Meron siyang anak sa pamamagitan ng kanyang alipin. Pero siya, wala siyang anak. At yun ang kanyang panaghoy. Yun ang kanyang dasal. Ito yung mga anak ni Jacob. Take note, Jacob, later on, the name of Jacob was changed to Israel. Jacob is Israel. So these are the names of Israel's sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Joseph, and Benjamin. These are the sons, the 12 tribes of Jacob. Okay, now let's go to our lesson. Increase of family, God's sustenance. Then God remembered Rachel. Then God remembered. Well, God did not forget. But this phrase implies that God is about to fulfill a promise. What is the promise of God to Jacob? From Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, what is the promise? That through you, all nations on earth will be blessed. That is the promise. A great nation and a great name. And all the nations on earth will be blessed. That is the promise. So, this, he remembered. Therefore, Rachel has to have also a son. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. God answered Rachel's prayer. This is also the prayer of Jacob to God, that God will do a miracle and take away the barrenness of Rachel, so that she will also have a son, a child. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, God has taken away my disgrace. We have taken this in the last lesson. Barrenness is a source of disgrace. A heavy burden was lifted. This is also true in the New Testament. We go fast forward. Elizabeth, the auntie of Mary, She had a son, and his son was John the Baptist when she was already very old. And she said, God has taken away the disgrace on me. Pagka ang babae ay barren, it is a disgrace. He will be ostracized. He will be shamed. She named him Joseph and said, may the Lord add to me another son. Joseph means to add. And it's true. Rachel had another son, but this time it was in Canaan already. And the name is Benjamin. Yung isang anak ni Rachel, ni Raquel, yung isang anak niya ay pinanganak doon sa Canaan, sa Kanaan na. Okay? After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Nung ipinanganak na ni Rachel si Joseph, sabi ni Jacob, panahon na para ako ay umuwi. Take note, it could be that one of the reasons why Jacob does not go back yet is because people in Canaan will surely ostracize. They will shame Rachel. Why? Because she is barren. She could not produce a child for Jacob. But now, meron na siyang anak, o pwede nang umuwi. Dito okay lang dahil andito sa Haran ang pamilya ni Rachel. Hindi siya masyadong hihiyain dito. Hindi siya masyadong kukutsain dito. Pero ngayong meron na siyang anak, panahon na para bumalik. Yon ang ibig sabihin. Give me my wife and children, for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you. Okay, so Jacob has fulfilled the 14 years. Well, when Jacob had Leah, he served the 7 years. Pagkatapos ng 7 years na serbisyo, doon niya naasawa si Leah. But in the case of Rachel, it appears here that Laban gave Rachel to Jacob in advance. Bago niya matapos yung susunod na 7 years, ibinigay na sa kanya si Rachel. Okay, so, but Jacob continued to serve the 7 years, the second 7 years. Tinapos niya. At ngayon nga, natapos na yung 14 years. Para maasawa niya si Rachel, 14 years. It was time to ponder on his promised role in the nation through which God would bless the world. Uwi na ako. And this time, naalaala niya yung pangako ng Diyos sa kanya at yung pangako niya sa Diyos. At yung kanyang role. Ano ang kanyang role doon sa pagliligtas ng Diyos sa sangkatauhan. Kaparte, yung parte niya. Si Israel ang gagamitin, ang bansang Israel ang gagamitin ng Diyos para iligtas ang buong mundo. His role in the nation through which God would bless the world. It was through the nation of Israel that God blessed the world. An occasion may come to each of us to realize that it is time to take seriously our role in fulfilling the Great Commission. Fast forward tayo sa panahon ni Jesus. The Great Commission. Merong mga pagkakataon, sinasabi sa atin ng Diyos na gampanan mo na yung parte mo doon sa Great Commission. Gampanan mo na. Take note, all of us were commanded by the Lord to contribute in the Great Commission. The Great Commission is not addressed only to the pastors or to the Sunday school teachers. It is to each and every one of us. Kailan natin gagampanin? Kailan mo gagampanan? Kailan mo gagampanan ang iyong role sa Great Commission? Hindi muna ngayon. Di ba? Busy ka. Busy pa tayo eh. Busy ka pa eh. Hindi pa ngayon. The Great Commission, Matthew 28:9-20. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Yun ang Great Commission. The Great Commission is addressed to all of us. To you, to me, not only to the pastors and the deaconess. Verse 27, but Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Divination, panghuhula. Alam nyo, who is Laban? A hill grabber like Jacob. Mandaraya din yan. Let us see who is Laban. Jacob worked 14 years of good labor for Laban. Divination, pinapractice niya yung panghuhula. What is divination? To discover hidden info through pagan practices. Divination was forbidden in the law of Moses, Deuteronomy 18:9-14. Pero gumagamit ng manghuhula itong si Laban. Pagan religion in Laban's household. Mayroong mga pagan practices doon sa kabahayan ni Laban. The use of mandrake to induce pregnancy, Genesis 30:14-18. And the presence of the gods, alam natin yan. May mga idols doon sa bahay ni Laban. May mga idols. In fact, Rachel have stolen these idols. Ninakaw ni Raquel yung idol. Hinabol sila ni Laban. Pauwi na sila. Paalis na sila. Tinago ni Raquel yung idol doon sa box, doon sa camel, at inupuan niya. Tapos, inisa-isa lahat ng mga tents, ng mga kahon, inisa-isa lahat ni Laban para hanapin yung idols. The idols. The gods. The gods, para hanapin. Pero hindi mahanapan. Bakit? Nandun sa camel ni Rachel ni Raquel inupuan niya. Sabi niya, ama, pasensya ka na, hindi ako makatayo. Bakit? Kabuhanan ko Yan. And even the father could not force her to get out. Alam mo, pagkakabuhanan ng babae nung panahon, sabi nila, unclean. Unclean. The real reason for Laban's being blessed is rooted in the Lord's covenant with Abraham. Ano yung covenant ng Diyos kay Abraham? Pagpapalain ko ang magpapala sa iyo. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And that is the same promise to Isaac and then to Jacob. And so, Laban blesses Jacob. Therefore, the blessing goes to Laban also. Verse 28, he added, name your wages and I will pay them. Jacob's presence has been very profitable for Laban. He offers a promise of blank check. Sabihin mo lang sa akin kung anong gusto mo. Kahit ano, ibibigay ko. Huwag ka lang umalis. Sabi ni Laban kay Jacob. Jacob said to him, you know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? The Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. Binibigay, ina-acknowledge ni Jacob kung kanino galing ang mga pagpapala. Ito ay galing sa Diyos. He is giving credit to God, to the Lord, for all the blessings. But also, in these verses, sabi ni Jacob, paano naman ang pamilya ko? I also have to think what is best for them. Verse 31, Laban continued, what shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Jacob replied. But if you will do this, nagbago ang isip. But if you will do this, one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Nagbago ang isip ni Jacob. Bakit kaya? O sige, kung bibigay mo sa akin ang hihingin ko, hindi ako aalis. Hindi muna ako aalis. Meron siyang proposal. Pero bakit kaya? Does he seize an opportunity to enhance wealth by means of as king? Naplano na kaya ni Jacob kung anong panluloko naman ang gagawin niyo kay Laban? Kaya siya nag-stay? Or maybe it's just a change of heart. Baka naman talaga nagbago lang ang isip. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep. Ito ang proposal ko. Lahat ng mga tupa na may spot na hindi malinis, hindi lahat puti, spotted, may mga polka dots. At lahat ng mga kambing na meron spot, yun ang wages ko. Now, lambs and sheep are usually white and goats are black. Palaging maputi ang tupa, puti yan. Usually puti yan. Bibihira yung may yung spotted lambs. Bibihira yung may itim. May kulay itim na balat. Goats are black. Bibihira yung mayroong dot na puti, etc., etc. So, Jacob is going to keep the least numerous. Yung mas kukunti, yun lang sa kanya. Siyempre, alam ni Laban ito. Sabi ni Laban, agree. Immediately agree. Okay, deal. Okay, agree. Deal. Siyempre, tuwan-tuwa si Laban. Diba? Dahil kanya yung marami. Now, we jump to verse 43. But in between this, 43, in this way the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks and female servants. Lumago ang mga pag-aari ni Jacob. Marami na siyang tupa, maraming kambing, maraming camels, maraming donkey, marami na rin siyang mga alipin. But in verse 33 to 42, ito na yung scheme na ginawa ni Jacob. Jacob uses a combination of breeding and superstitious belief. Kumuha siya ng branch of an almond tree, the branch. Tapos ginawa niya, binalatan niya para nagkaroon ng stripe. At tuwing magme-mate, yung mga tupa, yung mga kambing na walang stripe, nilalagay niya yun dun sa straw, dun sa inuman. At pag nakikita nila at yung nagiging anak nila ay mayroong stripe or may spot. Okay, so yan yung ginawa niya, 33 to 42. But let's move forward, fast forward tayo doon sa chapter 31. Jacob acknowledges to Rachel and Leah that God has been the source of the blessings and abundance he has received. Sinabi ni Jacob, hindi naman totoo yung kaya nagkakaroon ng spot, nagkakaroon ng stripe, yung tupa o yung kambing dahil dun sa ginawa. Hindi totoo yun. Lahat ay dahil sa Diyos. Diyos ang gumawa ng lahat ng ito. God is the source of fertility. God is keeping the promise. The promise to Jacob that He will give him abundance, prosperity, etc. Husbandry, folklore, belief, even after the Bible time, meron din mga husbandry belief even after. Doon sa Pennsylvania belief, changing the name of an animal will cause it to die. Paniwala nila, huwag papalitan yung pangalan ng animal, mamamatay. Yun ang paniwala doon sa Pennsylvania. Doon naman sa Illinois, paniniwala nila, if you get your horse on trade, you must change his name. Doon naman sa kabila, doon sa Illinois naman, kapag ka by trade, pinagpalit mo yung kabayo, dapat paltan mo ang pangalan. Yun yung mga paniwala. Sa ibang lugar, dapat paltan. Sa ibang lugar, hindi dapat paltan. Mga paniwala. Diba? Mga paniwala. Animal husbandry folklore may have been in play as Laban and Jacob tried to outsmart each other. But we know from prior readings that God's plan to bless Jacob. He is the real reason for Jacob's success. Walang kinalaman itong mga belief na to. Walang kinalaman yung almond branch na may stripe. Walang kinalaman. All of this came from God. All Jacob's success is because God is in control. God has a hand in the process. 20 years ago, that was our lesson last Sunday. Jacob dreamed where God promised him, I am with you always. And in that lesson, Jacob's vow that if God will do this to me, then the Lord will be my God. Ibig sabihin, mas mataas, mas malalim ang pagkilala ko sa Diyos. Conclusion, facing Laban. Laban is a hill grabber like Jacob. He changed Jacob's wages 10 times. Sister swapped Leah for Rachel and gets 14 years of Jacob's services. His daughters did not receive the inheritance due them. He took advantage of others. Yan si Laban. He took advantage of others. Dinaya niya si Jacob. 10 beses pinaltan kung ano yung sweldo niya. Hindi niya ibinigay yung mga dapat manahin ng kanyang 2 anak na babae. We meet Laban-like people in our workplace, school, or even in church. They always look for ways to gain advantage of others. Palaging merong ganyang tao sa lahat ng lugar na pinupuntahan natin. Workplace, schools, in clubs, even in church. Merong mga nanloloko. May mga oportunista. But the question, what do we do? What do we do? Our main desire should be to maintain a God-honoring attitude and conduct. Spiritual maturity and tact are important in knowing when and how to confront Laban in a way that does not make it worse. Kung anuman ang ating magiging reaksyon, kung paano natin ito haharapin, kung anuman yun, bottom line, dapat ang gagawin natin ay ayon sa kalooban ng Diyos. It should be a God-honoring attitude and conduct. Hindi lalaki ang gulo. bagkos makikita na mayroon pala sa puso natin ang Diyos. Perhaps a long hard look in the mirror will remind us that at times we are not all that easy to love or deal with either. Titignan natin ang ating mga sarili. Baka naman tayo rin mayroong mga pagkatao katulad ng pagkatao ni Laban. Mag-ingat din tayo. We all need God's grace on a daily basis. Grace to avoid being like Laban, and grace to love the Labans who cross our path. Jacob would not seem to be someone to emulate as we face life's Laban. But we should not allow Jacob's massive loss to cause us to miss. Ano ang kaibahan ni Jacob kay Laban? Hindi rin natin dapat na gayahin si Jacob dun sa parte ng panlilinlang. Pero ano ang katauhan ni Jacob na dapat nating gayahin? What was right about him? His awareness that God was watching over him to fulfill His promises. The same is true to us. Alam ni Jacob na totoo ang Diyos, tapat ang Diyos, at gagawin ng Diyos ang ipinangako ng Diyos sa kanya. Ganon din tayo. Alam natin na tapat ang Diyos sa atin at gagawin ng Diyos ang pinangako niya sa atin. Count your blessings and thank the blesser. Let's pray. Panginoon, salamat po sa pinag-aralan namin. Turuan mo kami upang kami ay magkaroon ng spiritual maturity sa aming pakikipagtuos sa mga tao sa paligid namin na nandadaya at oportunista. Turuan mo rin kami na hindi kami mandaraya at hindi kami maging oportunista. Ito ay ituro mo sa amin para sa araw-araw na buhay namin. Ito ang dalangin namin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen. Okay, so November 29, the last slide. Ito ay kasama na sa next quarter. Love and obey God. Tapos na tayo sa book of Genesis. Now, we go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6. Magandang umaga po at maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.